Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello, and welcome to the Inventor Smart Community TV's Innovation Unleashed. I'm your host, Bonnie D, and I'll be taking you once again into the world of invention, creativity, collaboration, camaraderie, and groundbreaking, wait for it, ka-ching ideas. I'll be speaking with inventors, new and established, and industry thought leaders whose experiences, expertise, and insights we hope will inspire you and motivate you. My very special guest today is Rian Carr, and here's the secret. It's Rian. Write it down. You can see him on the screen. And Rian is the inventor of something called Coda Grip. I'm not going to spell it or tell you what it is yet. But before I formally introduce Rian, I want to tell you about our new Inventor Smart community app. In case you haven't heard about it yet, it was designed by, and we can give a little applause here, Rian, for Brian Freed, who is the founder of
Thank
the
you,
Inventor
Ryan.
Smart community. A wonderful person, Brian. And Brian tells us the app is the place, not just the place, bold and underlined, where bright minds converge, where you can share your ingenious ideas, and that's what Ryan's going to do, and where you can connect and collaborate with like minded inventors. Wonder where you can get it? Well, where else? Download the app at the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Rian Carr, and we're going to talk about the who, the why, the what, the how, the when, the where. Let's get started. Rian Carr.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you to Brian for making the connections. Hey, my name is Ryan Carr. I live in Easton, Pennsylvania, and I am the proud owner and inventor of Codagrip.com, which I'll be able to talk a lot more about. I was actually born in Eugene, Oregon, and then moved to Easton, Pennsylvania when I was a toddler and raised in historic downtown Easton. Some of you might know that, very close to Philadelphia, New York. Yeah, and I grew up in a very musical family. My father was an illustrious recorded guitar player. My mom played the flute, and she was a dancer. So I came from an extremely creative family, and I think that's sort of inspired a lot of what I've done with my life, including some of the corporate gigs I've had here and there, which didn't require any creativity whatsoever. I've been a drummer my entire life. That was early on. I learned to play the drums and had the fortunate time to study with Joe Morello, who was a extremely popular drummer back with Take Five and Dave Brubeck and some other really famous drummers. Yeah, everybody
Oh,
loves Take Five, right?
oh, Be Still My Heart. Yes, favorite introduction to jazz when I was a teenager. I
Yeah,
just
love
dated
love
myself,
jazz.
Ryan. Go ahead, tell us more.
Yeah, and music has always been an important part of my life. It's been the way I've been able to express myself and be creative in the world. Yeah, and I spent many years playing the drums, touring, and recording and giving lessons, and it was a great experience. And sort of fast forward a little bit, I had some kids and changed careers a couple times, and tried some things, failed a few times, and succeeded a couple times in some other business ventures.
That's the story of an inventor, isn't it, Ryan? Right?
It really is. And last night during Brian's live stream on the Inventor Smart National Inventor Club on YouTube, one of the comments was "fail fast" when you're
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to do things. And it really stuck with me from last night because as an inventor or entrepreneur, somebody who's had 1,000 ideas, and this is the one that really stuck with me. I have learned to fail quickly, to take criticism, to
Mm-hmm.
look at my product and invention and my ideas in a really objective way. And it's helped me tremendously is to be able to take myself out of the product, take myself out of the idea and look at the idea for what it is.
There was an unfortunate event in your life. There was an accident that moved you
Mhm,
from focusing on the drums to focusing on your guitar.
mhm,
So, necessity is the mother. We've already heard that phrase many, many times,
mhm.
the mother of invention. Let's talk about that segue because I want to talk about the why part of your story. Why you
Great.
invented something for the guitar. So, give us
Mhm.
the immediate why, Ryan.
The why, if I had to sum it up and break it down into its most important elements, is pure personal creative freedom. That is the reason. That's the why I've invented this, because I believe in a life of creativity is a life well lived. So, what led me to this invention? I started playing the guitar in 2013 or 14 and fell in love with it because I couldn't keep the drums in my apartment as a single dad. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I picked up the guitar and I began to play. taught myself guitar. Fast forward to 2020. I was on a bicycle ride with a friend, something I do on a very regular basis in around Easton, and I was hit by a car on a bike, and it nearly killed me. It broke my back and broke my shoulder, put me in a hospital for a long time, and put me in a chair for a very long time while my back healed. And it was a horrific accident for me and my family and my friends, and it scared the daylights out of all of us. So during that period of recovery in my home, in this recliner chair that I had been, living in practically for months, I was able to play my guitar a little bit, but I had nowhere to put my guitar. I had a table next to my chair, which had
Mm-hmm.
bottles and medicine and water and tissues and food and snacks and everything else you have when you're immobile. So when I set my guitar on that table, it would slide off and slide around, and could, there was nowhere for a guitar stand because I had a cane and a walker there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, Bonnie, I got online and I searched on Amazon. I said, guitar holder clamp. And I was like,
Hmm.
there's nothing there. That's odd. So I went to Alibaba and I was like, oh, that's odd.
Nothing
There's
there.
nothing there either. So I spent the next 2 months searching every single musical accessory I could find on planet Earth, and it
Nothing
didn't
there.
exist. This didn't exist.
And that brings us to the what. Now is the what is that? What do you call it? And show it to us again, Ryan.
Thank you. This is Codagrip. So this is the first saleable version that I came up with. This is not the first version. I went through 3 or 4 before this, but it is simply a C clamp made out of T7 extruded aluminum, anodized black, with a steel hook that you can attach to one of 9 different ports on here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's ports on this
Mm-hmm.
clamp, and you can hang your guitar virtually anywhere. Behind me, you see some examples of guitars being held on a bookshelf. Well, they can hang on a tabletop and a countertop, and you could hang them on your back door. You could hang them on a porch railing, and many other places. Um, so Codagrip is the result of that accident. This is what came out of that tragedy, was a something that I found extremely useful, and hundreds, if not thousands, of other guitar players have also found this to be an ingenious, smart, simple, strong invention for the guitar.
The next question on my list is how? How did you decide to make it, to manufacture it, the materials
Hmm.
you used? Where did you do it, if you can tell us that?
Hmm.
Just briefly, what's the how of how Codagrip came to be, Ryan?
The Great question. I think as all inventors come to that point where they have an idea in their mind and they have to bring it into reality, they have to figure out how to do this. I started by just using things that were around the house. I had clamps, I had guitar hooks, similar to the ones you have on the wall, and I started putting pieces together. So that was version one, and as that process unfolded, I began to learn how to do manufacturing. I began to learn how to weld, how to find machine shops, how to do small run manufacturing and fabrication, learn how to do CAD drawings, learn how to source materials from all over the world or in my backyard. So it took me a year and a half to come from the idea to my first usable prototype, the one that I made my first 100 for. Uh, so that gives you a sense of how long manufacturing can take when you want to build something for the market. It it sometimes can take paths you had never expected. In terms of its design, this is not what the first one looked like, I can assure you. But I took cues from other industries. I looked at the camera industry. I looked at other accessories in the music industry, and I came up with a design that I thought was uh, very lightweight, yet very strong and portable and versatile in a lot of different ways. And I currently manufacture this hook in the United States, and I manufacture this clamp body overseas, and I assemble and package and ship from here.
One more question on that part, the how. How
Sure.
many people did you ask to test it, to try it, to evaluate it, to give you feedback, or was that part of your process? Because you
Oh
are a
yeah.
guitar player, so you were testing it yourself. But how many people or whom did you bring into the
Yeah,
process?
many. I don't think I put any money into this endeavor or too much time until I had a small prototype and I showed it to dozens and dozens of friends and family members and people I didn't know. Um, and it wasn't until I got that feedback that the idea began to take hold in my, in reality, to think, wow, maybe this is something I can actually make. So as with many ideas that I've had, some have not gone well. And I think looking back, I think maybe I didn't do a good enough job early on by getting some true feedback, some
Okay.
constructive criticism, and to ask other people, would you use something like this? Is this useful? Or do you think this is a good idea? And when I did that with CodaGrip, I learned a lot, and I would encourage every inventor and entrepreneur to ask before you begin to invent and put money in. Really get as much feedback as you can, because I learned a lot during that process.
I didn't even plan to ask you that question. Isn't that funny? It just came up because I said to myself, here's a guy who owns guitars, plays guitars, knows what he's doing, but I wonder if he wanted the input, the
I did.
practical. And I'm glad I
I
asked you,
did.
because that seems that we're trying to build a case here, if you will, Ryan, about
Mm,
for other inventors to be inspired to think about, if I were going to do something important to me, like Ryan Carr did for himself and for
mm,
his community, if you will,
mhm.
how would I go about it? What is a process that worked? And I'm hearing a lot of trial and error. I'm hearing fail fast. I'm hearing learn. I'm hearing be open to figuring stuff out. Do your research, be creative, be persistent, and
Take
just
your time.
there you go.
That's something I learned early on, is that these things aren't fast. I want them to be fast. In my head, they're going very fast because I can see into the future and imagine these things, but in reality, the process is very slow. And I was risk averse. I was not willing to take a lot of risk early on and invest too much time or too much money. I was letting the device and letting the idea take shape on its own, and not rushing things, being like, it's okay, manufacturing is delayed, and making content is takes a lot of time. One of the most valuable lessons that I could impart on anybody trying to go out and get a patent or trying to invent something and be an entrepreneur is to take your time. Go slow. Think about big moves before you make big moves. Really consider what you're about to do. Be careful with the money. Be careful with the time.
And there's also the underpinning of the commitment to see it through, isn't that, Ryan?
Yes. Yeah. I
Take your
always.
time, but go the course,
Yeah.
correct?
Never. Yeah. It's cliched to say, well, don't ever give up, but it's not when you're when you're in the driver's seat and you really
Hmm.
believe in something, which I believed in this. I thought that I know this is going to be successful. I don't, that's not even a question anymore. So I can be confident in that and take my time getting there and not rush it, because I had a lot of faith in the idea and the product,
Mm.
partly because I had incredible feedback. I have 5-star reviews on my website, and I've had very, very, very little critical feedback from this device. So I'm really happy about it.
Last question.
Mhm.
Where? Where can people find it? Is this brick and mortar? Is it
Mm.
catalog? Is it just e-commerce? How many websites is there? Are there an affiliate program? Where? Come on, tell us the story.
Thank you. It's just codagrip.com. So I'll make it simple for the listeners. If you want to purchase a Codagrip or check one out, they're 20% off currently on the website at codagrip.com. And I would love to be able to get on some affiliate websites, but again, I'm not there yet. I think managing my own e-commerce website is good right now. And yes, would I like to get on Amazon, and would I like to be in Guitar Center? Maybe, but not right now. So codagrip.com is where you can get one of these.
You never know who's going to be watching this. CODAGRIP.com. You all know how to spell .com.
Yes, thank
Aside from take your time, any last words of wisdom for your fellow inventors who
you.
will be seeing this, Ryan?
Mm.
Anything else you want to share?
I think creativity is the most important part of our lives. And I think each one of us individually has an enormous amount to share through our own personal creative process. So I would encourage every other entrepreneur and idea person out there, an inventor, to pursue that creative spark in each of us and that creative drive.
Thank you. And I know Brian Freed, the founder of the Inventor Smart community, has been a big supporter of yours. And you mentioned
Yes.
you're very happy with his input, with his support, with his ideas, with
Hmm.
his encouragement. And that's why we're all here. Ryan
Yes.
Carr, Riancarr. There you go. I got to keep spelling it because I want to make sure I get it right. I'm Bonnie D signing off. Thank you, Ryan. Signing off for another episode of Inventor Smart Community TV's Innovation Unleashed. Ryan, wave goodbye.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Brian.
Well, go.